Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Karen A. in Jerusalem, and I would like to welcome you to the Reco12 Afro-Euro Timezone podcast. We invite you to share stories of experience, strength, and hope of those with all addictions, all afflictions who have recovered using the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So whether you are a recovering gambler, alcoholic, workaholic, sex and love addict, Al-Anon, codependent, binger, overeater, undereater, bulimic, laxative abuser, validation addict, hoarder, clutterer, and anything else you could throw in there, who has recovered or who wants to recover, you are welcome to join us here. We're always looking for new people to share their stories of experience, strength, and hope. I'll put my number in the chat. You can PM me if you would like to do that. And you are invited every Friday here. It's 10 a.m. Israel time. I believe it's 8 a.m. UK time. And anywhere else in the world, you could just, search in Google and figure out the time difference. Like I said, we're a family of people from all addictions, all afflictions, living in the solution one day at a time, looking to be helpful to our fellows, to our families, to mankind, and to our higher power, so that more people are recovered and living in the fourth dimension. If you would like to contribute a seventh tradition, you could do so at reco12.com/support, and we accept PayPal and Venmo. Today, I would like to invite Kai, who is going to share with us his story, his journey, and of course, how he lives in the solution. Kai will have about 20 to 25 minutes to share experience, strength, and hope, during which you can write your questions in the chat or ask. I'll post them to Kai, or if you're really eager, you could jump in. But and Kai will hopefully answer those questions, and we'll all have more love and light and recovery in our hearts as a result of that. So it is my great pleasure, Kai D. Thank you for joining us here today, and welcome.
Thank you, Karen. So hello, everyone. My name's Kai. I'm a grateful recovering addict. I'd just like to thank you for asking me to come along and share today. It's such a pleasure. I'm so grateful that you've asked me. I'd just like to start with a little reading that I wrote out yesterday. So I'm grateful not only for sobriety, but for the quality of life my sobriety has brought. God has been gracious enough to give me sober days and a life blessed with peace and contentment, as well as the ability to give and receive love and the opportunity to serve others in our fellowship, my family and my community. So that relates a lot to me because I was a very ungrateful person. I just started with a bit of my background. Didn't have the best of upbringings, but that doesn't define my using, because I am the problem. Not what happened to me. Not what I done. Yes, what I done, but not what certain things happened in my life that I had no control of. But I used on that, and tried. We're addicts. We always find excuses. I also do apologise if my camera's a bit blurry because my phone's broke. But yeah. So yeah, obviously I grew up in a small town called Reco, and wasn't the best of places. But yet again, it doesn't matter where you go. There's always going to be bad places. And then my mum was a single parent. My dad left a 2-year-old, and it wasn't the greatest, to be honest. She was in and out of abusive relationships and stuff like that. I remember breaking my arm when I was 6-year-old because I fell out a trolley, funnily enough. And I lied to my mum, said that I'd fell over my scooter, I'd done a front flip over my scooter and broke my arm. There's denial straight away. So I'd already had these character defects from young, before I was even an addict. But she just told me to go to bed and sleep it off, and I just thought, really? So anyway, I was screaming for about half an hour. She ended up taking me to hospital in the end. And things got worse after that. Like 8, 9-year-olds started getting abused by my mum. She was getting severely abused at this point, like by her partners. And it wasn't the best at all. But just because of that doesn't define my using. Like I've already said, it wasn't my mum that chose me to drink or chose me to use, or my dad for that matter. My dad got me out of care at 12-year-old. Sorry, I'd went into care because my mum couldn't cope with me anymore. It was a week after my uncle's death, and I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I was a little. How do I say this without swearing? I was a naughty kid, pretty much. And then things just progressed and progressed and progressed. So I'd went from being the only child with my mum to living with one of 6 with my dad. My dad had went off and had 2 kids, and then his partner already had 2 kids, and then they ended up having 1 together, and I was the oldest one, so I felt like all the responsibility was on me. Helping out at home, stuff like that. And I was only 12-year-old, It's like my dad was working away a lot. And I never really felt part of. I was always isolating, just, doing my own thing. And I just felt this loneliness inside myself. And then obviously moving on, like 15, 16-year-olds, that's when the drink started. Started drinking out, and started as a moderate drinker, like just having a few cans in the park with my mates and stuff like that. And then, we'd go home, we'd have like 3 or 4 cans each, and we'd go home, everything would be all right. Wouldn't even feel that like drunk, but just like, like that bit tipsy. It wasn't really my thing at that point. And then obviously I got introduced to cannabis about 15 and a half year old, just before I was leaving school. And that's when things really progressed, because I left school in lockdown, and I left in the March, and I didn't have to do my GCSEs. Things at home still weren't great. I was always arguing with my dad, conflict with my dad. And it was terrible, really. But that's because I wasn't putting no action in, to like even my school life or my home life. I was just so isolated from the world, like I've said. And I didn't want anyone to be around me. I wanted to be my own person. And then obviously 16-year-old, obviously I left school and stuff like that. Things were all right for about 4 months after leaving school. I started helping my dad with his job and stuff like that. He was self-employed. And then we were just arguing, conflicting at work. And then he ended up kicking me out. And I went into a support accommodation at 16-year-olds. I'd got into college doing a sports course. And obviously this was during COVID. So like a couple of weeks in, I'd went to a couple of lessons. And then I got told to leave because I wasn't attending lessons. And I told him I had COVID when I never, there's another factor of denial. And yeah, it just really got worse from there. The drinking got worse, the cannabis use got worse, and then I got introduced to cocaine. Wow, that was my best friend. It really was. I got told one night, "Oh yeah, we'll go out and we'll get on this, and we'll just have it for the one night." And no, it ended up going on for a couple of years, maybe a bit longer, 2.5 years, I think. And that was like the peak of my addiction. I just didn't care. I was selfish, I was self-centered, I didn't care about no one. And like further down the line, 18, 19-year-old, being kicked out of a couple of supported accommodations. I tried the geographical side of things, moving towns and stuff like that. It just doesn't work, because I am the problem. No matter where I go, I'm going to drink or use. And then moving forward to 20, which was only last year, I got, it was actually a year ago, a couple of days, I got made homeless. And that was the worst time of my life. It really did bring me to my knees. And that's when I conceded to myself that I might have actually been an addict. And I didn't really think about it like that. I didn't really look at it. I tried all that, therapy, counselling, CBT skills, cognitive behaviour therapy, all that stuff. And I was just full of denial every single time that I was speaking to these people. And then obviously I was homeless for about 6 months. I stayed a month in one of my mum's old friends. And then obviously I had to leave there due to her, she nearly passed away and she had to go to hospital. Thankfully, by the grace of God, that she never, And then I went to stay with one of my mates that was in my first supported accommodation. He'd got a lass. His lass had a house. He had a house. It looked like he got his life back on track. And he did in a way, But he was really he's probably a worse addict than me. And I feel sorry for that man today because he's still out there. But I was robbing, I was stealing, I was doing everything I could to get my hands on these, drugs. Because I stopped the alcohol really, and then it was just mainly the drugs. I was robbing shops just so I could get my cannabis. Towards the end of my addiction, that's what it was really, just the cannabis. Not really because I didn't enjoy the other stuff. It's because I couldn't be bothered anymore. And I needed a way out, and I just couldn't find a way out. So it was just a cannabis. And then, obviously, I got caught for shoplifting, and the police got me in touch with these people that could help me. So I wouldn't be going to jail. They'd just help me on. I'd have to see them every couple of weeks for 4 months. Just so I could not just sort of get NFA, just sort of get my life back on track a bit. And then I got introduced to a treatment centre in the northeast of England. And wow, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. It really is. I walked in and honestly, I was full of fear. I didn't want to know no one. I was just, wow, it was really bad. I didn't know where to look. I looked like Sideshow Bob. Honestly, probably worse to be honest. But it was really, really bad. And at first, I didn't get it at all. I got introduced to the 12 steps and I didn't get it. I thought, what is this? Where am I? But all I was bothered about was having a roof over my head, just being able to be sober as well, in a way, at least I'm sober. That's what I kept telling myself every day early in my recovery, at least I'm sober, because I didn't want to live that life anymore. And I still don't today. I wake up every day and say, I'll stay sober or risk never coming back, And then a couple of weeks down the line at the treatment centre, I got myself a sponsor. I didn't really understand it all at first. As I started reading through the steps and stuff like that and actually getting a better understanding of it from not just the facilitators in the treatment centre, but from other people as well that had already been through the programme. It gave me that bit of light, that bit of freedom, maybe I can do this, that hope started to come. And then that power grit in myself, I had this spiritual experience. And I remember I used to pray for all the bad things that had happened when I was younger, with my mum and stuff like that. Would go away, and eventually it did. My mum hasn't been in an abusive relationship for, I'd say, about 8+ years now. And I've got a good relationship with my dad again now. We don't argue, no conflict, no nothing. And I used to pray for that, and I thought, well, there might be a higher power, there really might, because there's definitely something looking over us all. The amount of times that some of us, I haven't myself, but some of us being close to death, it's unbelievable. And there's a reason why people are still here today, because I have a purpose in life, and that's to get clean and sober, do these 12 steps, and go out and help other people. And that's my purpose today in life. And that's why I'll start going through the steps a bit. So we admit we were powerless, and that our lives have become unmanageable. Powerless over our addiction, sorry. I was completely powerless, you know. Like you say, I put that first one in, you can't stop. It was a lot more than that for me. It was like, once I have something in my life, it's like, boom, it's like a connection. And I need to have that. And if I don't, then what am I doing, you know? Like, but I've got that connection with my higher power now, so I don't need them drugs or alcohol anymore. And as long as I continue, you know, I come to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. Like, come to believe, you know, like they say, it's not an overnight matter. Nothing's an overnight matter. And, you know, I was willing to believe because I'd had experiences and stuff in the past. And it was a real eye-opener for me, them first 3 steps, you know, because when I got told about step 3, made the decision to turn our will, which is my thoughts, and our lives, which is my actions, over to the care of God as I understood Him. It was a real eye-opener, because I thought, well, my thoughts and my actions don't get me nowhere. God's thoughts and His actions take me everywhere. And it was a real good experience, that step 3, and it's where I started opening my eyes to things. Started realising what life is actually like, not just being sober, but like being in treatment, seeing other people, like being in treatment as well. Like, I thought I was the only one. I thought there was only the only one that suffered with this type of stuff, but I'm not, you know, because I'm so selfish and self-centered. I think it's only me, and it's really not. And then obviously you move on to that step 4. Wow, this was a real, I wouldn't say it was a hard one. I made a fearless and moral inventory of myself, but there was one resentment where I was fearful over, you know, but I had to get that in. I had to be honest. I really did. And then, you know, that step 5 as well. This is where I had to be really open-minded to the fact that I have to let God in, you know. Even before I'd done my step 5 with my sponsor, I let God in. I prayed on these resentments before I went and spoke to my sponsor, and then I let God in the room when I did like go through it with my sponsor. And wow, the relief I got from it afterwards, having that hour by yourself alone, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it just opened my eyes to like life on life's terms, and I was just so relieved. It was a really good experience, really good. And this was the start of my spiritual awakening, I would say. My behaviour started to change. Like, I was being a lot kinder towards everyone. I just had this sense of freedom. I had this internal peace of mind, and it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, being able to be happy, like, who'd have thought I'd have been able to enjoy being happy without drugs and alcohol? Not me, not Kai. God does. God knows. That's step 6. It was massive. I had a lot of defects, and I still do today, but it's about recognising them, you know, and letting God in when, not when they have come out. Well, yes, when they have come out, but before they even come out, when you know a defect's coming out in your head, you're like, oh, hang on a minute, I need to pause here, you know, like they say, pause when agitated. And I have to do that quite a lot. You know, and that's step 7, humbly asking Him to remove. And I think He can remove some of them, but I don't think He can get rid of all of them. It's just about how we deal with it and how we turn to God, and how we recognise our behaviours, because at least recognising it and working on it is better than just getting rid of them completely. And I believe over time, some of them have been removed from my life. And then obviously, 8 and 9, massive. You know, when I first came in, there was a lot of steps, where I thought, can't do that. But there was a lot of them where I was like, yeah, I can do that. Like 4 and 5, for example, I was willing to do 4, but I wasn't willing to do 5. I was willing to do 8, but I wasn't willing to do 9. You know, and 10 as well, I wasn't willing to do that whatsoever. 1 I knew, 2 and 3 was a bit, you know, but then I look back on my experience. But 8 and 9 were massive steps for me, mainly 9. Going out and making amends to people who had harmed, unless when to do so would injure them or others. That was really, really massive. And my first amends was my mum. You know, I'd lied to her, I'd stole, I'd broke into a house, I'd done all sorts of terrible things, you know, and I wouldn't change that, you know. Like, a lot of people like, what do you mean you wouldn't change that? Because I wouldn't be the person I am today. As long as I can do better today and go out and make amends to these people and actually mean it, you know. Like, I had a big list. I think it was about 16 people or something. I think I've got about 4 or 5 amends left, 2 of them being financial amends, but that'll all come in time. But that biggest one for me was my mum, and also a girl I was seeing as well. They was the 2 biggest ones, because I needed that, you know. Not only that, but they probably did as well. Like, I hadn't spoke to my mum in about a year or something, and being able to see her and speak to her and like just getting hearing her side of the story, you know, and just actually meaning the apology this time, because we've all said sorry multiple times. We didn't say, oh, it won't happen again. How many times have we said that? You know, it doesn't happen. It really doesn't, because we end up doing the same things again, and we end up harming the same people again. Like they say, recovery is like a ladder. If you keep looking up, your recovery's there. If you look behind, your disease is right behind you, you know. So that's why you have to keep looking up on that ladder. And that's when we move on to step 10, you know, continue to take personal inventory, and when we're wrong, promptly admit it. And I wouldn't say this, quite recently I have had to do that, to be fair, but I'm getting better with it. Like, I don't see my defects coming out as much. I pause when I am agitated. There's still times where I'm not, you know, but that's what my nightly review is there for. And it's absolutely amazing to have. Like, that 10, 11 and 12 is like 11, praying and meditating, massive part of my recovery, really big part of my recovery, and I'm so grateful to have that. Because without praying and meditating, my mind's just boom all over, you know, and I'm just angry at the world again, you know. I'm like that kid that came in when I first came into treatment. If I haven't done my prayer and meditation, and I have to have half an hour to myself in the morning to you know, think, right, what am I going to do today? How can I help others? And what can I do to improve my own recovery? And that's when we move on to step 12, you know, helping others. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry the message to the still suffering. And that's massive for me, really big for me, because I've improved a lot in my own recovery as I've started helping others. I've got 3 sponsees. I'm taking them through the work. Got a couple of them on step 4. One of them I'm doing is step 3 later on. And it's really good, you know. I like to say, half measures avail us nothing. If I don't do this stuff on a daily basis, you know, especially that 12, then wow, like, what am I really doing here? Like, because I was half measuring it, like I've already said, you know. I was willing to do some, but not the others. That's like half measures, you know. And like the service as well, you know, everything, the circle of recovery, service, unity, and recovery, you know, we're all here recovering. The service is, you know, hosting meetings, you know, teas and coffees, like meet and greet, stuff like that, you know. Every service is massive. And I'd advise anyone that's new and stuff like that to get on board that, you know. My first bit of service was meet and greet, and then it went to setting up the meeting, and then obviously now it's hosting my home group. But I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I didn't put the action into my recovery today. And that's something I have done and something I'm willing to continue to do on a daily basis, is expand my recovery, and not just that, help other people expand their recoveries by getting them through these steps, because I can already see the light turning on already, and they're not even past the step 5 yet. And how amazing that is, because to me, because I didn't start seeing that light until I was past step 5. You know, I didn't care. That's because I was so close-minded to it all. But today I'm not, and I have the opportunity to, you know, come on here and do service and spread the message to who I can. And like it says in the 12th step, try to carry this message. That's all I can do. It's up to other people if they take what I have to say on board and put the action into their own recovery. You know, I can only guide people with this stuff. I can only show them what I've been taught, freely give them what I've been taught. You know, and if they're willing to put the action in, you know, and if they're honest and open-minded, then the world's your oyster. It really is. You just need to grab this stuff with both hands, because it really, really does change your life. A year ago, a couple of days ago, yeah, I was homeless. I had nothing. You know, a year on, I've got 3 sponsees. I've got all this stuff back in my life. I've got all the materialistic stuff, but most importantly, I've got a peace of mind today. You know, I'm content. I really am. And I'm doing the best I can for my recovery. And I'm willing to do even more and more. I'd like to thank Karen for asking me to come share. And I'll just leave it there. Thank you very much. And thank you for everyone that's joined today.
Wow, Kai, thank you so much. Those are truly, truly miracles. He was homeless and he found a home, friendless, and he found tons of friends and tons of family. The first speaker I had since I started this podcast that came on with a crew of 10 before I even got on the call. Truly, truly remarkable. If you want what this man has, be in touch with him. Kai D, please put your number in the chat so people could be in touch with you for outreach.
Yeah, I will do.
For sponsorship, for step 10s, for whatever. Clearly, this is a man who is committed to working with others day in and day out. Kai, we're going to take some questions now from everybody, and if you feel you have more that you wanted to share, I'll open up with the first question. I'm going to ask people to start writing their questions in the chat. What was your spiritual experience, or what was I'm going to go back. What was the moment of desperation? What was the rock bottom that made you say, I need this program. I need this program. I cannot go on this way.
So what it was, like, obviously, I was so broke and I had nothing. I didn't have a clue about this 12-step program or anything when I first came into treatment, and I saw it and I was just like, what is this? But what it was for me is I saw other people doing so well and getting through all this stuff. I thought, you know what, this actually might work. I didn't care about the world. I didn't care about anyone. I was self, and I needed that way out. I needed to find a power greater than myself. You know, I looked at that step 2 and I thought, I need that, because I was insane. It really was. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, sorry. I just switched phones because I was low battery on that.
It's all right. But yeah, I saw what other people had, and I looked at myself and I was like, I was the definition of insane. You wouldn't even have to look in the dictionary, you know. I literally was the definition of insane, and that's where I knew that I needed this program. Yeah.
Got questions about addiction, recovery, or just life in general? Let's noodle it out together. Grab your big book, a pen, a highlighter, and a notepad, and join Nikki M and me, Justin B, on Reco12 Noodle It Out with Nikki M. Each episode, we take real-life questions, ours, yours, and those from the recovery community, and dig deep into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous to find real, practical solutions. So, if you're ready to do the work and apply the solution, tune in to Noodle It Out with Nikki M, streaming now on your favorite podcast platform.
Amazing. Again, I'm going to invite people to write in the chat. And what was the spiritual experience? What was the turning point? You started working the steps. You started getting through this. You were broke. You were broken. You were broken.
Yeah.
What was the turning point?
My spiritual experience was like, I don't know, like I was speaking to my housemate. Obviously, it was my uncle's. I think. Obviously, he died in 2015, and like my mum was. Oh no. So anyway, I was speaking to my mum about my uncle the day before, and then I was speaking to my housemate about my uncle. And funnily enough, I was dreaming about my uncle, and then I woke up, spoke to my housemate about my uncle, and then 5 minutes later, my mum put a post on about my uncle, and I was just like, "What?" Like it just absolutely blew my mind. I was like, "Bloody hell! Like what's going on here? Like is it just a coincidence, or is it like really like something out there?" And I really did believe that like maybe there is something out there, and I've had quite a few spiritual experiences since. I'm trying to think of one. Off the top of my head, I can't really remember. Yeah,
well, that's cool. That's cool. You saw that things were lining up. That I'm going to put it in big book language. You saw that a power was running through you, right? You thought about someone. You spoke about someone, and there was a post, and big things happening. Okay, someone wanted to come in on the chat here and ask a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm Sean, alcohol addict.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, and it's like, say, mate, I've seen you went the first day you came into the treatment centre, mate, and you are shining. Like, say, you were a broken soul, and I seen that, and that's why me and a couple of lads used to take you to the meetings and that, and took you under our wing. Like, say, you've been in the treatment centre now a good few months, like, say, same as me. Like, say, you knew I had it and got it. But once you put the program down, you know that. You've seen it in me. Because I put it down and I went out the door. Good job it wasn't for a couple of days. It was only for a few hours, you know what I mean? But I had to come back to the treatment centre to tell the truth, you know what I mean? And that's what gives me the hope and inspiration, because I've seen you. You're shining like a star. Honest to God, mate, you are. Like you say, when you first go in, your attitude stunk. You know what I mean? You're always backtracking everybody, saying this, you're always saying that. But now, I see you, when someone says to you, you pause. And I can see that in you, mate. You know what I mean? I'll take my hat off to you, because you haven't half come a long way, mate. I'm over the moon for you, mate. You know that. Like you say, you've been there from day one, and I've been there for you from day one, mate. Like you say, we even go for dinners and that. And if you're ever depressed and that, I can see that, and I always ask you, what's up? Get yourself down, mine. We'll have a chat and we'll sort out. I say, you've got yourself a good sponsor. You're on the right track. And now you in like right over the moon with you, mate. Proper over the moon. Like I say, I've picked me program back up. I've got to start it all over again. Good. I've got myself a good sponsor, as you know. Like you say, I'm starting from day one again. And like you say, before I get out of bed, I meditate. And as soon as meditation's done, I'm on my knees, I'm praying. Like you say, I lost that 3 weeks ago, and it put me out the door. You know that? You see my attitude's going. It's the same as a few people in there, but you can't tell them. You know what I mean? It's the ego. They're edging God out, and they're not bothered about the ego, bro. It's like you say, I know I'm sick. Spiritually ill can kill, but I'm telling you what, bro, it won't be killing me, mate. It's like you say, I want like you, person like you to fall back onto. There's loads of kids in there where we can sit and talk to, you know what I mean? But we're just frightened to, because that's just our egos. Once you get the program into you, we just got to keep hold of it. Like you say, and you keeping hold of it. Like you say, I see you shining, bro. Honest to God, I am over the moon with you, mate. And God bless you on the rest of your journey, bro. And I'm going to be there behind your back, bro. Right, thank you very much for letting me in.
Thank you, Sean.
That's so beautiful, Sean. Thank you. That is so beautiful. And look at that, that shows Sean's recovery too. These guys are partners in recovery. But see, what I'm seeing is, the addict is selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and afraid. If Sean could go on and on and on about how proud he is of his brother, Kai D, that shows not only that Kai D is recovered, but that Sean is recovered just for today. He's able to compliment. He's able to shout out to his friend. He doesn't have to think about how he looks, how he's doing, what he's getting. See, that's what happens. We straighten out. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out physically and mentally. We could be a normal person. We could give a compliment. It doesn't cost us money, right? When we're in addiction, we're so afraid. It's all about us. What do they think about me? Do they like me? Don't they like me? Everybody's bad. Everybody's evil, right? It's just a whole switch. Thank you, Sean. Do you have any questions for Kai or anything you think in your personal knowledge of Kai that you think, maybe you want to pretend it's your question, but that others should hear the answer because of how he works with others or what have you?
I just want him to keep on doing what he's doing, and if he sees me down, just come and approach me. You know what I mean? I know we all say, how are you doing today? And we all say, oh, I'm all right. But if you prompt and say, look, are you really all right? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what we just need to keep on doing, Kai. It's like I've seen you in the centre and said, are you all right, mate? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm all right. Are you really all right? I mean, that's what we just need to keep doing. So next time you see me down and starting to hide me little tools out my box, just come and talk to me. You know what I mean? I'm like a little baby hiding little dummies out the pram. You know what I mean? Just, honestly, God, just help me and I'll help you, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Right, I'm going to get yourself ready and go start making my way up to the centre. I see you when you come in the centre, Kyle, son.
See you later, bro.
Right, cheers, Karen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else want to come in? Anyone else want to come in with a question for Kai?
Yeah,
Kai, I would love to hear a little bit about how you work with others. Oh, someone came in. Go ahead.
No, you go first. I'm getting ready anyway. Go on.
No. You.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Kai. As I said, I want to come with great gratitude, but that's not our whole group, so I'm trying to change everything, so I don't want to go back to them. But Laura is my good friend as well, so I spoke to her. She goes, oh, bless. And you know what? I've got enough respect for you. Like, for the age you come in and to get it, I've been homeless as well. It's terrible. I'm like 42. And, sorry about your upbringing, like, with your mum and things like that. But, like, I was telling Laura yesterday, she's like one of my best mates, Laura, on that gratitude meeting. I speak to her like she's my, you get 5 people that you're really close to. Although I left the meeting, I speak to her because I get a female perspective. And just looking at you grow, like when I first saw you, I was like, no way, it's like, because you've got 5 months or more. And then you're so calm, you're like a little Care Bear, like you keep quiet, you're collective, you're very professional for your age, very professional. And I love that about you. And you're a caring person. The first day I come into centre, are you all right? Like you talk to me every day. Like you only know me for 10 days, but 11 days. But you got that love inside you. And I can see the way you got 3 sponsees, the way you act, the way you conduct yourself. I find that amazing. And I can see you proper like helping a lot of people. I could actually see you, I could picture it at a convention, at a big convention on the stage. And I would love to get at your age. I would have loved to. But codependent, I just didn't give a F. I had to go to my rock bottom, which I did go to my rock bottom, but that's still well enough for me. So I'm so happy that you got it at this young age, and I've got enough total respect for you. I leave it there because I'm literally in my birthday, so I need to get ready. All right, love you. See you soon. Bye.
See you later, bro. Thank you.
Hey Spearheads, if you're looking to dive deeper into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with people who live the solution, then you won't want to miss Reco12 Big Book Roundtable. Join David G., Nikki M., and me, the moderator Justin B., 3 recovered addicts from multiple fellowships, as we break down the big book line by line. In each 30-minute episode, we share our experience, strength, and hope in a real, raw, and practical roundtable discussion. So, if you are ready to learn and apply what you learn, tune in to Reco12 Big Book Roundtable on your favorite podcast platform.
I just want to come in and say thank you for your share, Kai.
Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah. We do need to get ready. I do need to get ready to go to the centre though. But I just want to say thank you for your share. It was nice to hear it this morning. I do relate quite a lot to the upbringing. How did you manage to just let your brain forget about it? Well, not forget about it, but move forward.
You know what, Deborah? It was just letting God in. You know, I don't have to worry about that past anymore as long as I've got God by my side. You know, I just focus on the 24 hours ahead. It is hard, you know. I still do think about it, but I think I wouldn't change any of that because I wouldn't be the person I am today, Deborah, you know.
Yeah, it's just I'm starting my step 4 now.
Yeah.
And obviously this is the one where you have to dig deep, isn't it?
It was one of my, if not my hardest steps. But honestly, the relief you get from it, especially after you do that step 5, Deborah, like, you won't even be bothered about it anymore. You know, you'll still get glimpses of like memories and stuff like that where you think everything happens for a reason, you know, and you are where you are now in the right place, you know, you're doing the right things you need to be doing.
Did she just say she's getting ready to do her step 5?
Step 4. I'm doing my step 4 and step 5.
Oh, okay. Do you have a second for me to share something with you about this to make it a little bit lighter for you? Oh, please. Okay.
Please.
So this is one of the great things about the way I work the Big Book through the Big Book workbook. We go through it pretty fast and furious, you know, like the founding fathers did. There's been some misconception over the years that step 4 has to be some, you know, hideous, therapeutic, you know, dramatic kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I've got in my head.
Yeah, it's funny. As I'm saying this to you, I'm taking out my garbage. Ironically enough, all this is like, you know, I just had a box of garbage in the entrance to my house, and as I walked in, it was just some odds and ends. We had a holiday here, like wrapping, so it kind of got a little stinky. It wasn't like cold food, but it's like not wanting to do step 4 is kind of like, I don't really want to take out this garbage, but I'm going to leave it in the entrance to my house so that every time I walk in, you know, it's just going to waft this nasty smell. You know, maybe just to, you know, lighten up a little bit, you know, take it a little less seriously. It's no big deal. It's just like, you just don't want to leave your garbage on the front doorstep anymore. You just want a nice, clean, you want to spray some air freshener, put out some flowers, put out a jar of potpourri. We're just getting rid of, you know, we're just taking inventory. We're just getting rid of the stuff that is no good. You know, it does not work for me to have a carton with garbage at my front door, you know, inside, you know, in a small entry room. Really, if I could just tell you anything, you know, and I don't mean this as a criticism, oh, just lighten up. It's great. You're just, you know, it's like if I told you, you know, like weight loss scheme, you know, you could lose 10 kilo without dieting, without this, you know, just, you know, hand it over to me. And you're just, okay, here's my 10 kilo. Thank you. You know, I'm going to get a smaller pair of jeans or whatever. Like you're just handing me 10 kilo, you know, it's all good. And then you're going to wear a nicer pair and you're going to be lighter and you're going to, you know, look better and feel better and, you know, just take it much lighter. It's been made out to be this monster. And the Big Book's goal, all the Big Book says is we get a sense of our grosser handicaps. You're just going to want to get a little snapshot of where you're arrogant, where you're selfish, where you're self-involved. And then you keep moving into action and helping others. That's it. That's it. Much lighter, much more chilled out, okay?
Thank you.
No biggie. Millions have done it before you. Got this. Beautiful soul. We need you sponsoring other people. That's the bottom line here. This is not your inventory. It's not your step 4. We need you through these steps and shining your light into the world and helping others. That's all this is about.
Thank you.
Don't
Honestly,
even think about
thank you very
4.
much, Karen. Thank you much. Thank you for your share, Kai.
Anytime,
I'll see you
Deborah.
at the centre.
You bet. You bet. Anyone else want to come in with a question? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Bye, Sarge.
No, I was
Anyone
saying,
else want to come in?
I didn't want to come in. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go to the centre. But yeah, great shot, Kai. Love you.
Thank you, brother.
one last call if anyone wants to come in. If not, I'm going to ask Kai to pray us out a little bit early today. I've been under the weather, so anyone else want to come in? Okay, fantastic. Kai, will you do us the honor of praying us out?
Yeah, I chose to step free prayers and that.
Amazing.
So using the word God as you understand him. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bonds of yourself, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, and the victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will, always. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, everybody. If anyone wants to stay on with Kai afterwards, I'm going to let you all stay on, do a little, parking lot, whatever they call it. Have a beautiful day. Kai, I'll try and share this recording with you as soon as it's ready. Okay?
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Karen. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you are amazing. You are amazing. You got to keep helping others who are dying. There are a lot of people dying out there, and you were given the gift and you were smart enough to take it. You got to go out, keep helping them,
Yeah,
Double
definitely,
time.
Karen. I've had 3 friends die from this disease in the past 4 months, and it really is life or death. Like I said, stay sober or risk
Well,
never
what did you
coming
say?
back.
What did you say?
I said I've had 3 friends that have passed away due to this disease.
What did you say? 3 people?
3 in the past 4 months.
Wow.
And that's why I tell myself every morning, stay sober or risk never coming back, because it really is life or death.
Yeah, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. And for those of us who aren't in those circles, whether you're, whatever, a compulsive overeater or codependent, the madness is death too, We ruin our family friendships, we ruin our parenting, The big book tells us very clearly, insanity or death, not a joke. Thank you for saying that. That's very powerful. 3 friends in 4 months. And if we have the power, if we have the gift of helping others, so there's not another tombstone, another coffin, we're going to do that. And I want to just say one more thing about that. I was telling a sponsee of mine this morning, if someone calls you saying they want to sponsor, but they're not willing to do the steps, please move on, like the big book says, because we want to prevent the next funeral. This is the business we're in. If someone wants you to be their friend, their therapist, boss, if you're bored, be my guest. But if you're busy like me and you have a job or you have a family or whatever, you're going back to school, please don't waste your time, because we want to prevent that next funeral, that next suicide, that next whatever.
100%, Karen.
Thank you for reminding me that this ain't your granddaddy's podcast. This is serious business.
Yep.
Serious. Bless you. Bless you. Bless everybody. Have a beautiful day.